So if you have been following the news at least a little bit recently, then you have noticed that there is a lot of talk about the recent rise in energy prices here in Europe. And like it or not, it is going to affect your wallet. However, in order to combat this, we need to know why they are rising in the first place. With energy, we are talking about natural gas. But this also has a direct impact on the price of electricity, but I'll get there in a minute. And here there are a couple factors which contributed to the perfect storm that we are in today. In general, businesses have been going to pre-pandemic activities, which suddenly created a massive spike in demand. On top of that, Europe receives a lot of its needed gas supply from Russia, which has, due to a number of reasons, been exporting less natural gas since the summer. Long story short, one of the major reasons is an ongoing controversy about a new pipeline, the Nord Stream 2. Russia wants it in operation as soon as possible, but other nations fear the European Union will become too dependent on Russian gas, which of course will increase their geopolitical influence. A simplified way of looking at it is this. If your boss still needs to give you your paycheck, it's a lot harder to argue with him. And especially if your boss has, in this case, the power to turn off your heating. The real issue is a bit more complex than this, but you get the point. This, together with an already low supply of gas going into the winter and a particularly heavy winter in Russia, which caused them to use up more of it themselves and thus require more time to restock, has created the perfect storm that we are in today. To make matters worse, this also directly increases the price of electricity. Renewable energy is fine, but the thing is that the wind isn't always blowing and the sun isn't always shining, so it isn't that as reliable as, for example, nuclear energy. Even as of now, the opinion on nuclear energy is changing. This is clean energy in terms of CO2 output, but in decades prior we have been so averse to nuclear power that it will take quite a while in order for us to build new ones now. Also, one of the problems with nuclear power is that they take quite a while to ramp up before they reach peak efficiency. So it isn't something that you can easily turn off or on again. So in case of an energy spike, for example, in the evening when everyone comes home and starts charging their electric car or starts cooking, this isn't the ideal solution for that problem. So what major energy sources remain? Well, coal and natural gas plants. Coal is discouraged more and more because it is a heavy polluter, so most of it falls to gas. And now it is important to see how the price of electricity is calculated. A simplified example is this. Say you need 40 megawatts of power, and you can get 10 through renewables and 40 through nuclear. So in this case, you are covered. The price is now 20 cents per kilowatt hour. Suddenly there is a huge spike in demand and you need 80 megawatts of power. But you can only cover 50 of that with renewables and nuclear. So that means that you need 30 megawatts from somewhere else. In this case, it's going to be of a gas plant. Now the price isn't 20 cents for renewables and nuclear energy, but 40 cents for everything. So that means 40 cents for each kilowatt hour, no matter where it comes from. This is based on a pay-as-clear model. So this is also why gas prices have a large impact on the price of electricity. So this is all very depressing since these are factors beyond our control. So what can we do to reduce our gas and electricity bill? Well, the only real way is obviously by using less, but this can be done quite easily. If you don't already, then it is a smart move to invest in a smart thermostat. Just turn off the heating in the rooms you aren't using or when you aren't there, or when you are asleep. Personally, I don't set heating in most of the rooms unless I know I will be spending a lot of time there within the next hour or so. Also, we don't heat during the night, and these things really save a lot of energy. And the whole thing can be operated just from our phones. So the message is just to wear a sweater. Also, if you live in your own home, it might be worthwhile to invest in more insulation. Especially here in Europe, where we have a lot of green targets to strive towards, local governments have been pushed towards more green initiatives. And one of the ways in a lot of countries here in Europe that they are doing this is through subsidizing. So chances are, if you want to renovate your house or provide more insulation in your house, that there is a local subsidy you can use to mitigate at least some of that cost. Also, depending on where you live, you can apply for green or real cheap loans for just such a purpose. And this does make quite a difference. To give an example, this house is insulated really well, and we only started heating in the middle of October. Meanwhile, we heard from friends and family that they needed to heat already in the month of September or mid-September, so a month earlier. And it hasn't been exactly cold here either. It was a comfortable 20-21 degrees all the time. So just goes to show what a difference this can make, especially also in your gas bill. As for electricity, replacing old electronics can in some cases result in quite a dramatic change in your electricity usage. And one not so great example that I can give here is that we replaced the fridge and deep freezer that was already in this house by a not too eco-friendly American style fridge. And the end result is that even though it was almost twice the size as the previous one, it uses less power. It can also be a great idea to install an energy meter in your house so you can track these things. That way you have an idea of what and when you are consuming a lot of energy. A coworker of mine discovered by doing this that his dryer had been broken and he was consuming about 600 kilowatt hours over an entire year, too much. To put this into perspective, that's about 200 euros worth of electricity going down the drain. And if you can't be bothered to install an electricity meter, then what I would recommend you do is at least talk to some coworkers or friends or family and compare energy usage. That way you can already tell if something is up. If you are spending way more money than the average in your family or friends or social circle, then you know something is up and something doesn't add up, and you can already save a lot of money there. You can also invest in some eco-friendly technologies for your house, but what I would recommend is you at least invest in solar panels if you have the money. These days they are practically a no-brainer, and in almost all cases you get your money's worth if you live there for at least 6 to 7 years. However, in the winter you won't get that much return from them, so that is one thing you do need to keep in mind. There is also the option of buying a home battery. They are getting more interesting and affordable these days, but it's still a mixed bag. We also bought solar panels together with a home battery, so I will let you guys know on whether or not that was actually a worthwhile purchase, but it's too early to tell. It has only been here for a couple months and everything seems to be going fine, but we need at least a full year of data before I can say anything remotely interesting about it. So if that is something that you are interested in, then don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, or subscribe in general somewhere down here, and then I hope to see you next time. Bye.